So welcome guys to lesson 2 of module 5, which is winning with buyers. And in lesson 2, we're going to explore the buyer callback and how to set your buyer expectations and protocol with your buyers so that when you get to meet with them for the first time, there's a very deliberate expectation. There's a rapport that's been built up and they know what they can expect from you and you know what you can expect from them. So we're going to jump into this and I trust that this is going to make a big difference. So before we jump into it, let's just look at the outcome. What is the outcome with this buyer callback? So if I'm phoning back a buyer has responded to my listing on Property 24, they've sent me an email, I've got an alert, or they've called me back. Either way, I'm speaking to them on the phone for the first time. What is my outcome? Well, in my estimation, the number one outcome is rapport. You want to build trust with your buyer so that, as Srini has quite rightly put forward, is that we want them to buy into us first, and then we want them to buy into the property, right? Then number 2 is we want to determine the dominant buyer motivation. And this is we're going to delve into this in greater detail in this module, and then in a later module, we'll deal with it on its own. Because your ability to determine what your buyer's reason is or what their motivation is absolutely critical to closing. Because if you don't know what their motivation is, you can't close on them. Okay. So let me ask this question. The motivation that they want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, is that a dominant buyer motivation? No, that's not a motivation. That's just something that's nice to have. But I guarantee you there's an underlying motivation for that property. And their motivations, which we'll discuss later, is going to be around their value system. It's going to be around security. It's going to be around, would they like to have space? Is it family? Have they got a bigger family? That's the motivation. The fact they need a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom just matches up on that. So that's what we'll discuss in detail. And then we're going to do, the outcome is you want to do a viewing. So you want to get them to a viewing as quickly as possible. And in that, you want to view the correct properties that they are possibly interested in. And then you want to take an offer. So the outcome is you want to get an offer, but you have to build rapport, find the dominant motivation, then do the viewing correctly. And in the viewing, you want to learn to build urgency. Who'd like to learn to build urgency with their buyers? And find out, how do you make them urgent? So, there's a statement that we've heard that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Has anyone heard of that before? Well, here's the corollary to that. You can take the horse to water. You can't necessarily make it drink. However, you can put a lot of salt in its oats and it's going to then want to drink. Does that make sense? So that's the urgent. We want to create urgency with our buyers. So we want to add salt to the oats. And then this last statement here, you want to nurture your clients until they're ready to make an offer. Because like we discussed in lesson 1, is that it's a timing issue with your buyers. Your buyer that you're speaking to right now is definitely going to buy. There's no doubt. They will buy within the next 10 years, they're going to buy. The question is are they going to buy from you? And the only way to assure that is to nurture your client. And so we will talk to you about how we're going to nurture. We're going to talk about our buyer database to nurture your client on an ongoing basis until they're ready to buy and they'll buy with you. Okay, so everyone happy with that outcome? Good. So what I want to talk to you about quickly, we're going to talk about the buyer callback. And I've got a rudimentary script here that I use, and you can change it, use it. But here's the thing. You want to have something that you talk about. So before we get into this buyer callback, I want to just bring up the topic of the fact that when I do my first buyer callback, it may not necessarily be my consultation. And I want to divorce the two. The one is a callback. The one is a consultation. They're not the same. And there's a different outcome. The outcome from my callback is to build rapport and to book my consultation. You understand that? My consultation outcome is I want to build rapport, determine the dominant buyer motivation, and to book my viewing. Can you see the two differences? Because here's a scenario. This is what happens with my callback. And because there's two things. One, I get an alert on Property 24. So Property 24 sends me an alert, and I may be in the car or I may be in my office. I pick up the phone and I phone them back. Or they phone me on my phone, and now I'm in the car again. I'm at the shops, I'm doing whatever, and I take the call. Now I'm distracted. I'm actually doing something else, and I'm taking this call. My question to you is this. are you able to be effective with all the distractions going on while I'm taking this call from buyer? No. So you want to control the environment. So my suggestion is when you do the callback, is you seated at your desk, at your computer with your script in front of you, and you do the callback deliberately so you control the narrative. All right. So, but do I get calls in the car sometimes? Yes. The quick key is that you want to get back to your buyer as soon as possible. We never want to avoid that. But so that's why the callback could be different. I'm making a callback to my buyer and I'm just acknowledging them. I'm showing them respect and I'm letting them know that they are important to me, but I may defer my consultation to a later stage, either that day or the next day. Can you see how that could work? Right. If the National Institute of Real Estate Agents in the States shows that one of the biggest gripes that people have in the industry or buyers have in the industry, clients have, is that agents don't get back to them. That's the number one gripe. And it's the truth. Let me put it this way. Do this exercise today. Please go and try and rent a property. Go online, find a rental property and phone the rental agent and see if they phone you back. Like they won't phone you back. I guarantee you that. All right. Is that true? Like who's ever tried to rent a property or buy? Most agents don't phone them back. I've had many cases where, for myself personally, and I know some of you guys, where you've actually phoned your client back in pretty quickly and they said to you, sure, thank you so much. You're the only agent that has phoned us. Who's ever had that? It happens. What does that tell you? The industry is fraught. It is terrible. We don't get back. So that's why I say the buyer callback gives you that option where you phone the client back, you let them know that they are important to you, you build rapport, and you set a consultation to do something else. You understand what I'm talking about? All right. So let's just go through this rudimentary script, and I'll just do this. I might say to Paul, if I'm phoning Paul back, say, hey, Paul, this is Dion from Cornerstone Property Partners. Thank you so much for your inquiry. I saw you inquired on 123 Rose Street. Paul, before we go any further, can you just let me know what was important to you about buying a new home, or what was important to you about purchasing that commercial property? And he'll go on and say, well, I'm looking for this. I'll tell you a story. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. You write those answers down. And then you say, Paul, rent or leasing a commercial property is very important. And you know what I'd like to do? I'd love to assist you with this process. And I'd love to help you alleviate some of the pressures and stresses associated with this process. Now, to do this effectively, Paul, what I need to do is I need to spend 40 quality minutes with you together, what's going to allow me to get a better idea of what's important to you and what your specific needs and desires are. And that's going to be able to allow me to advise you correctly and help you find that property in the right time. What I'd like to do, Paul, is to either meet together with you face-to-face or in my office or do a Zoom call with you. Which would you prefer? He says Zoom. Say, fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what I've got. I've got this afternoon available at 3 o'clock, or we can meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Which would suit you best? And he books a consultation. So now, can you see the difference? I'm controlling the situation. In this kind of, you can change it, but have I let Paul know that he's important to me?
Yes.
Have I told him that his needs and his desires are important, so important that I want to make a special time available for just him? Yes. I've allowed him also to vent or to just speak a little bit about what's important to him. Does that make sense? If he's ready to go now, if he's ready to do the consultation right now, I can do a Zoom call right now and do it, or I can meet him at my office. Are you happy with that? So this callback script, it's really important that they know that you're important to them or that they're important to you and that you're able to ascertain what it is. So in residential sales, this works beautifully because it's a longer process. With rentals, residential rentals, they are urgent. They're looking for something. But at the same time, if you've got a residential letting a client that's looking for to rent something and they're phoning you, they may be available today. But I do not want to meet them at the first property they've inquired on, because until I've done my consultation, I don't really know what their budget is. I don't know if they are credit worthy. I don't know if what they can afford, and I don't know what they're looking for. And ideally, if I'm going to take a client out, I'd like to take them to the top 3 or 4 properties that they're probably going to transact on. Does that make sense? All right. In commercial, it's the same thing. I want to meet them first to ascertain what they want, because that buyer that I'm working with, they may not transact with me today, but next month or 6 months time they'll transact with me. But if I don't know what they want, I can't do that. So is everyone happy? So if we were to look at this, how easy would it be to do a callback like this? So I'll do one to Bobby and say, hey, Bobby, it's Dion from Cornerstone Property Partners. Thank you so much for inquiry. Bobby, before we go any further, would you mind just tell me what's important to you about buying a new home right now? And he goes and he tells me, what's important. He wants a home and 3 bedroom. I say, that's really good. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Well, Bobby, obviously buying a new home is really important. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to assist you with the process. I'm going to help you alleviate all the stress and the pressure of buying a new home. And we can do that together. Now, to do this effectively, Bobby, I'm going to need to spend 40 quality minutes with you where I can get a better idea of what's important to you and what your values are. And then I'm going to be able to effectively advise you on those correct properties. So we can either meet face to face or we can do a Zoom meeting. Which would you prefer? And he says Zoom. I say, fantastic. I've got this day and this day available. What suits you best? Does that flow, guys? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Do you think you could do that as a first call with somebody? Okay. Now,
yes.
The problem with that is that it does take a bit longer, because now I'm deferring it, because most agents will jump in straight away and start to jump what they want. But I've just found that most agents don't have their things together. They don't have stuff together. They don't have their script together, and they're not doing it effectively enough to really understand what the client wants, and they miss out on the opportunity. So I've just found that doing it this way, it builds that rapport, and I find that my clients buy into me when I'm doing it this way. Srini, you brought up that whole thing about clients buying, and you've worked in that industry, in the corporate, with working with big teams. Do you think this could alleviate, or do you think it could help to build that kind of rapport with the client?
Most certainly.
I think it's good. Okay. And it sets the client at ease. Right? Does that make sense? So, and the buyer, so, and in the back of my mind, when I'm doing this callback, what am I doing? I'm trying to categorize my clients. So you'll see now when we do the consultation, you'll see we talk about A, B, and C category clients. So in my mind, I'm already starting to categorize them. Are they A, B, or C category? Are they urgent? Are they ready now? Because it's going to help me determine what I do with them next. Everyone happy with that? Very simple process. All right, good. So what I'm going to do now is, guys, I'm going to quickly jump into the expectations protocol. So this is, in terms of the client expectations, this is such an important part of what we do. And oftentimes when we are frustrated with a client, it's because we haven't set the expectations up front, and we are expecting them to perform in a way that we never asked them to perform in. Does that make sense? Like, let me give you this example. I meet with a buyer at a property. All right. My meeting is for 3:00. They don't arrive, and they arrive at 3:30. Now, I'm frustrated with them, and I'm saying things like buyers are something and sellers are something else. All right. Now, whose fault was that? It's my fault, because I didn't set the expectations. So when I set my expectation with Paul, this is what's important. When I say I'm meeting with Paul, so I've got 2:00 and 3:00 available. What suits you best? Paul says 3:00. I say, Paul, that's fantastic. Paul, obviously you and I are both busy. So what I'd like to do is, if for some reason you can't make it exactly at 3:00, like your house burns down or you get a flat tire, could you please phone me and it will just do common courtesy to phone me? Would that be okay? And I'm not made 3 times. Yes. Now he knows. Like, if your house burns down or you get a flat tire, that's the only reason why you could like not meet with me. Kind of, have I told him that? Can you see the expectation? And then obviously I phone them just before I'm arriving. I'm saying I'm just about to leave. I'm going to be about 2 minutes on beforehand. I'll see you there just 2 minutes beforehand. Is that okay? All right, good. So this key is to position yourself in the client's mind. So you want to position yourself in your client's mind in 3 things. Number 1, as the expert. So by doing my buyer callback, by sending my expectations protocol to them, I'm setting myself up as an expert in this industry. All right. And I'm also setting myself as relevant for them right now. I want to be relevant for them as a client. Like, I'm going to help them purchase. I'm going to help them save time. And then number 3, this is the ultimate thing. All my client wants to know is, can I lead them to the land of their dreams? So can I lead them to the home of their dreams? That's what they want to know. Am I the person that's going to help them purchase a dream home and live the life they want? Am I the person that's going to help them buy a commercial property where they're going to run their business and make a profit? So you want to position yourself in that situation. So the question is, do your clients know that you're open for business? So here's another expectation with your buyers. Do they know that you're open for business? Do they know that you're in real estate? Do they know that you're ready to transact? Do they know that you're the agent of choice in your area? And what this comes back down to is if I've dealt with a buyer before and they're not ready to buy right now, 6 months later, do they still know that I'm an agent? Do they still know that I'm there to serve their needs? And how do they know? So how would my client know that I'm still the agent of choice and still ready to serve their needs? How would they know, guys?
If you
See
keep
my
in contact.
board.
Keep in contact, absolutely. And how do I keep in contact?
Purchase a list.
You got to purchase a list, yeah. And how do I
Make a list.
make a list? And then how do I keep in contact with them?
Touch campaign.
Touch campaign, lovely Logie, absolutely. Because in 6 months' time, a year's time, I've probably got 300 to 500 buyers on my list. All right. And I need a touch campaign. I need a very deliberate strategy to keep in touch with my buyers on an ongoing basis, adding value to their life until they're ready to transact. Yes? Good. The other thing is this, and this is the saddest thing in real estate. And I'm going to share this with you. This is probably the saddest moment in your life as a real estate agent. And I think that everybody in real estate has gone through this. And if you haven't yet, then you haven't been in real estate long enough. But this is a sad moment that I'm going to try and help you avoid it. So you're in real estate and you're an agent, you're good, and Christmas is coming up, right? So it's Christmas. You're sitting at Christmas, you're eating a beautiful lunch and turkey, you're having fun with family and friends, and you've got crackers, you're putting crackers and you're making fun of everything. You're sitting afterwards, you're having mince pies and tea, and your brother-in-law gleefully stands up and says, Dion, you won't believe it, man. I'm so excited. We just put an offer on a new home, and I think we're gonna get the offer. It's been accepted. We're so excited. And guess what? He bought it through another agent, not you.
Yep.
Who's ever had that? Well, it's going to happen to you, and it happens. It happens all the time. You have a best friend at a bar says, "I've just put an offer in," or "I've just sold my property." Oh my goodness me, that is a terrible, 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 terrible day in your life. It's because we don't keep in contact with those people.
If you've been in any form of sales, it would have happened to you.
Yeah, that's right. All right, does that happen, guys? So we want to avoid it. Yeah, good, it did. Oh my word. Well, we want to avoid that, and you just want to avoid that process. And it's about letting them know. So that's the question there. Do they know you in business? So that's why the touch campaigns are important. So do your family, friends, your contact base, your database, the people, the sellers in your area, the buyers in your area, do they know that you're in business and you're ready to serve their needs? And that comes through contact base. Okay, so I'm just labeling that because we don't do that. So let's quickly go through this section now. And I want to go through this expectation. So the first step we're going to deal with is setting the expectation. So we've done the script, we've did a buyer callback, and now we want to set the tone and expectations. And how it works is this, is we've got this buyer guidelines and expectations. I'm going to share it with you quickly, but I want to just pre-frame it where it goes. The moment I put my phone down, I send an email off to my buyer with this expectations and guidelines. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And all you need to do is you just need to change the photograph, preferably, because like that photograph is not you, obviously. So change the photograph. Other than that, at the bottom, you can just change your details here and then it's done. So what you can do, you can also change what's in here, but I use this as a buyer expectation. So it's my buyer guidelines and expectations. If Paul is my client, my buyer, I've spoken to him on the phone for the first time, right? I built rapport. Now I send him a buyer guidelines and expectations, and then I meet with him a day later. Can you see that I've built quite a lot of rapport with him? So, introduction says here, congratulations on taking the first step towards purchasing your new home. So if you need commercial property, congratulations on taking your first step to purchasing your new business premises or whatever it is, okay? I take great pride in offering my clients full service package. I appreciate that dealing with potential acquiring. So that needs to be acquiring or something like that. Acquiring your largest asset. Let's put that in there. Acquiring your largest asset. This process could be a little confusing and daunting sometimes. However, I'll help you navigate this process and bring you out on the other side successfully and within budget. Now, how awesome is that? I'm going to help you do it within budget. I'm making sure, I tell you this by making sure my clients looked after in terms of the legal process and financial requirements to provide my clients with astute real estate advice. So what's the process? Well, the first process is discovery call. Find out a little bit more about what you are and what your desires are. We do a home purchasing expectations review. We do a home needs analysis. So discover your values and requirements. Introduce you to a structured finance consultant. We do a virtual home viewing, which is phase 1. So we sift through 50 to 100 potential properties available. We choose the top 4 home options. Then we do an offer. So it just goes through the whole process we're going to do. What can you expect from me? Well, this is what you can expect from me. What we're going to do is, and this is, I think, what I'll do. It says here, your home needs and desires are important to me. So it will take time to do a comprehensive buyer needs consultation with you so we can determine your real requirements. In my observation, I see buyers wasting time, ending up frustrated, confused, and over budget when they run ahead without a plan or assistance. So that the buyers will sense that, yes, I resonate with. That's exactly what's going to happen. So what it is, I do all the legwork for you. After our consultation, I will review 50 to 100 properties and present you with the top 10 best fit options. And together we will get that down to the best 4. So we stay in budget and enjoy and the exciting process of acquiring your new home. Can you see how, does that make sense to a buyer? And then my professional guidance and constant communication and feedback will be obvious. Then my expectations. Allow me to guide you through the process, which starts with our home needs analysis audit and adherence to our purchasing expectations agreement. All right. When we sign the purchaser authorization, it signifies that we are both on the same page and allows me to work exclusively on your behalf in an atmosphere of mutual trust. So how exciting is that? So what I'm saying to the client is this, is that we're going to do a needs analysis, we're going to do a proper consultation, and we're going to sign a purchaser agreement, which allows me to work for you exclusively and help you get through the process. So that's my expectations. Whether they take it or not is another story, but I'm setting my expectations up front. So I do the buyer callback. In my mind, and I'm trying to determine are the A, B, or C category clients. I'm building rapport, I'm setting expectations, and I'm booking my consultation. I send off my expectations protocol. It builds additional rapport. It sets the tone and expectation. So when I do my consultation, when I book my consultation, it makes it easier to book. Does it make sense, guys? All right. Will everybody go through the full process like this? Probably not. But at least I have a process to follow. And it allows my client to know that this is the next step. Like, I'm in control, I'm an expert, and I know what I'm doing. And if you follow my process, you're going to win. So that's what I'm trying to set up. It helps you to be confident. Okay. Happy there, guys? All right. So you can use that, change it as you want it, but I want the client to read through it before I see them. Any questions on this expectations protocol or guidelines and expectations? Anything, guys? Anything we can just clarify there? Deline, how do you feel about that? You okay with that? No question?
No, I don't think I have any questions. Obviously, it just needs to be changed to commercial.
Yep.
So.
Just add your own things in there. All right, good. So everyone happy with the process? So it's very simple. Truth to be told, I get inquiry on Property 24. I take the inquiry. I put it onto my database. I phone the inquiry back. I do my callback. In my callback, I'm building rapport and I book my consultation. Now, after I've made the call, I send out my expectations protocol. It goes to them. They read it. Most of them will read it. I then am now at the stage where I'm ready to do my consultation. All right, that's where we come now. And what we're going to do in lesson 3 is we're actually going to go through the consultation, and I will share with you all the questions that you could ask and how to set up the process. I'm going to go through this buyer mandate as well, which is a very, very exciting thing. Everyone happy with that? Good. Well done, guys, for completing lesson 2. I'll see you on lesson 3.